Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good morning and welcome to the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge Partnership on the Learn Live channel. The idea behind the Cheshire and Warrington Pledge is to put employers at the heart of inspiring, informing and communicating with the next generation of employees in the Cheshire and Warrington areas. There are opportunities for a wide range of roles such as warehouse operatives, accountants and computer network architects, and that's just to name a few. These will be featured on the Learn Live channel with the sole purpose to help make you stand out to future employers on the field that you want to be in. So far during these weeks, we've heard from companies such as Cultural Services and Harper Adams, but today we'll be hearing from Priestley's College Chris Lee. Chris will be meeting with representatives from universities across the UK as they share their guidance and helpful tips surrounding what makes a college or university right for you. They will also be telling us all about the application process and the support that is available between now and getting that place. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask them in the live chat facility next to the video player, and a member of the team will get back to you and answer any questions you may have. Now, over to Chris and his higher education contacts.
Hi, my name's Chris Lee. I'm a senior tutor for progression at Priestley College, which means I'm in charge of helping get students into university and apprenticeships and moving on to things after college. And I also have a role similar to a head of year.
Hi, I'm Debbie Halliwell. I'm a school and college liaison officer at the University of Central Lancashire in Preston. I travel about the northwest of England going to help students in schools and colleges with the transition to university.
Hi, my name's Adrienne Marriott Mills, and I'm head of schools and college partnerships for Midlands and the north of England for Falmouth University in Cornwall. My role is to support teachers to give out quality advice and guidance about the courses that we offer, to support students to progress, and to help parents, teachers, and students to find out more about creative careers.
Hello, I'm Laura Pearson. I'm a student recruitment officer from Manchester Metropolitan University, and I spend a lot of my time going into schools and colleges to provide impartial information, advice and guidance to help students make the informed choices about what they want to go on to do next.
My name's Emma Gillis and I'm a widening participation officer here at the University of Chester, and I'm responsible for working with schools in Warrington and Cheshire East to try and raise aspirations and show university as an option.
My name's Grant Smith. I'm a senior student recruitment officer at the University of Dundee in Scotland, and my role is to go around England and again provide impartial advice to students all across sixth form, year 10, year 11, trying to help them get to the right university for them.
What are my options after school? There are two main options which you can take up. One would be what's called an intermediate apprenticeship, which is based on, it's like doing an A-level, only it's an apprenticeship, so it has a qualification that goes with it. You'd need to find an employer to take you on for that. The other main route which you'd take would be to go to a sixth form of some sort, maybe stay at a school sixth form, or move on to a sixth form college such as Priestley College, which you'll know in Warrington, or one of the other colleges in the area. It's worth noting that you can apply, if you wish, to every single sixth form college you can think of anywhere in the country. You don't have to just do one. So it's a good job to have a look around and think what you can see.
Okay, so in terms of your options after college, there's probably four main things that you could consider. One is to go to university. The second one would be to get a job. And the third one, you could go and do a degree apprenticeship, or you may want to consider taking a gap year. Now, in terms of university, in 2019, approximately 40% of 18-year-olds progressed straight to university. University is often seen as providing higher earning potential, promotion prospects, and for some careers, you do actually need a degree in order to kind of go into them. However, it may not be for everyone. Some people may want to get out there and start earning some money. That is absolutely fine, but I think the one thing to be aware of is that because a lot of the higher paid jobs do require a degree, you may find that at a certain point you hit a bit of a ceiling. Also, with retirement age gradually getting closer to 70, you may feel like you've been in education for a long time, but actually, you're going to be working for much longer. So staying in education a bit longer perhaps isn't a bad idea. One thing to be aware of with university as well is there is no age limit with it. So if in 5-10 years time you wish you'd gone, that will still be an option open to you. Now, in terms of degree apprenticeships, I'm not going to talk about those because Laura is actually going to cover that for you later. In terms of gap years, obviously people that were on gap years this year have been dealt a bit of a poor hand, and they've had those spoilt. But for some people, a gap year is a good option because it gives you an opportunity to kind of try new experiences, maybe get some work experience, perhaps do a bit of travelling, so that it gives you time to decide what you might want to do, and also gives you a stronger CV for when you do come to either apply to university, for apprenticeships, or for going into the world of work. What I would say is that at Priestley College, the careers team are on hand to obviously talk students through their progression. And the most important thing is to make the most of your time at college, because that will give you a jam-packed CV for whatever pathway you decide to take.
How is college different from school? I think the first thing you'll notice at most colleges is the freedom that you have. You don't have to be in necessarily at any given time. You'll have obviously a set of lessons, but it may finish, early in the afternoon, or it may start late in the morning or something. So you may be able to come and go to some extent as you please. You'll have free periods or study periods in which you'll be expected to be working. But it's a very different structure to school rather than having every block of the day filled with lessons. You'll notice there's almost a bewildering amount of different qualifications you can do as well. There's not that many GCSEs available, but there are a huge amount of qualifications available at sixth form level. So you've got obviously A levels, of which there are very many new ones which you won't have seen before, things like psychology and law, philosophy. There's a huge range, so it's well worth having a good look at what's out there and available. Then you've got your vocational qualifications, such as your Cambridge Technicals and your BTECs, and the new T levels, which are just about to be launched, which are going to be a sort of A level equivalent of a vocational qualification. And another thing you may notice is that you might be able to wear your own clothes. Not all sixth forms and colleges work like that. Some insist on business wear or have some kind of set for clothing, but some places allow you to wear whatever you like. So there's a lot of freedom, dyeing your hair, wearing whatever clothes you like. So there's a huge amount there, and it's a good idea to go visit, have a look round, look at some websites just to get a feel for what it's like.
So university can be a little bit different to college. The great thing about the education system is when you have sixth form college or any college you decide to go to, that will be a bridging gap between your school education and then going into university. So you're already halfway there in a way where you've got a lot more independence. So you will have your free periods. You maybe could come and go a bit more as you please. And that is a bit more similar to university. What university will be a lot more independence. So it means that there might not be as many people there to tell you when you should be studying or when you should be going to lessons. That is going to be much more your choice. You might also find that contact time is going to be a little bit less. So where I'm from, at the University of Dundee, you might find that if you were to study a bachelor's degree, you might only be in around 12 to 15 hours in a week. When you compare that to college, you might be in 30 hours a week, at least. If you're going to do maybe a medicine degree, that's always going to be a lot more full time. So it'll be sort of 37 hours per week. So it does depend what you want to study, but it does depend how motivated you are. So if you're going to study something like an EPQ at college, again, that can be something that's really useful for you in providing that bridging gap where you're expected to do your own independent work and then culminate that in a final project. And that's very similar to university work, where you might work by yourself a lot of the time, but you might also work with a group as well. And it might be a presentation, it might be an exam at the end. There's going to be different types of ways that you're assessed. So it won't always be an exam, it won't always be coursework, it could be field work as well. So your coursework could depend on a field trip to Spain, could be dependent on a group presentation. So it's going to be the different ways that you're assessed as well. But a lot of that will come down to your own motivation. So that's why it's so important you go to university to study a subject you enjoy, just so you've got the motivation to do the independent research.
Right, what's a typical college day like? There probably isn't a typical college day because unlike a school where everything's very structured, college days tend to depend upon what subjects you're doing. Now, for example, if you're doing a BTEC, you mostly have 4 days in doing intensive practicals and classroom learning, and then you tend to have a day where you don't have any set lessons where you're expected to do your own work, prepare your module work, do all your coursework and so on. So really, it really is a very variable thing. It depends on what subjects you're doing. At Priestley College, our subjects generally come in blocks of 4.5 hours a week. So you can work out from that how many hours you'd be doing on each one. So 13.5 hours for 3 subjects, and then the rest of that time would be then broken up into self-study periods for you to work for yourselves. There are other things as well at colleges. All colleges will be running a variety of other activities which you can take part in alongside your learning. So there might be elite programs like a graduate program like we have at Priestley, or there may be enrichment activities such as Duke of Edinburgh, which may take place in the college day, or sign language learning, or we have things like amateur dramatics groups and singing and dancing, and there's a huge amount of different things which you can take part in. And there's also most colleges will have pastoral got sessions, a bit like your form periods you might have had at school, where you'll have a personal tutor or a progress tutor or somebody who looks after you, and they'll be there to answer questions about applying to university or looking for, I don't know, you having problems with your bus pass or something, but they're there to get all that kind of information across that you'd get in your tutorials at school or your form periods.
Okay, so in terms of what courses you can study at university, if you look at all those out there, there's actually 50,000 possible ones to choose from. This ranges from the traditional subjects, so things like your English, your history and your maths, to the more vocational based ones, so things like nursing, physiotherapy, journalism, and then you've got those that are probably more aligned to kind of specific interests or hobbies that you might have. So you can do degrees in equine studies. If you want to move down to Cornwall, you can actually do a degree in surf science. You can even do degrees in things like esports. There's lots of options out there. And to get onto some of these courses, you are required to study specific subjects at college. So if you are currently in year 10 or 11 and thinking about what you're going to be doing at college, it's worth checking out, what you may need for progressing on afterwards. These courses are delivered across 395 providers, and when people think of university, they do actually differ quite vastly. So you have your traditional kind of red brick universities, those that are high up the league tables, well known for the research. They often have the higher entry requirements. You've then got more new and modern vocational universities. That's what UCLan is, and they can be a bit more vocational in delivery, and the entry requirements tend to be a bit lower. You can then also do degree level courses at a lot of local colleges. So if you don't fancy kind of that big move to a university, you can check out what the local provision is. There's also different levels that you can actually study at once you get to uni. So most people would progress from kind of studying at college to try and do a bachelor's degree. Now, these are typically 3 years in length, but they sometimes can last 4 years if you decide you would like to spend a year in industry, or you might want to go abroad as part of your course. Now, you may think, that's too long to commit to, but actually the term times at university fly by. You'll probably end up wishing that you could stay there a bit longer. Your summer holidays, they're more like 15, 16 weeks. So if you do fancy doing a little bit of travel, or you want to get a bit of paid work that can help fund you through uni, you've got plenty of time for that. The most important thing I would say is there's so many courses out there. It's about finding the right subject for you. It's got to be a subject you enjoy, because then you'll be inspired and you'll be motivated to actually turn up to your lectures. You'll want to learn, and then you'll come out with a decent degree after it. Obviously, in order to find the right course, it is important that you do the right preparation and the right research, but I'm going to talk about that later.
So what are degree apprenticeships? Degree apprenticeships are very different to traditional university courses, and they're a relatively new offering. A degree apprenticeship typically involves working a full-time job alongside studying for a university degree. With degree apprenticeships, you would typically attend university for approximately 30 days throughout the year, and you spend the rest of your time working a full-time job. You'll usually produce a combination of different assignments and also work-based projects, and usually your employer would allocate you some time for your studying. At Manchester Met, we offer a number of different degree apprenticeships, and you'll typically find that more providers are offering these degree apprenticeship positions. Some of the benefits of a degree apprenticeship include the fact that you earn a salary. You don't pay any tuition fees for your course, unlike traditional university, and you also gain real work experience from your working role, alongside developing lots of expert subject knowledge from studying for your degree. In some cases, there's the opportunity for fast career progression within your area. On the other hand, though, balancing a full-time role and studying for a degree can be quite challenging, and this does require some self-discipline. Typically, degree apprenticeships are focused around a specific career path. So if you're still trying to figure out what you want to go into, then this might not be the right opportunity for you. You should check the Institute for Apprenticeships website and individual universities' websites for more information and to find out about individual entry requirements for positions that you may be interested in.
To get into college, it will depend quite a bit on the college that you select to go to. Some colleges have a sort of a base level of GCSE schools that you have to get in. So you might have to get an average GCSE score of 8 or something like that to get into the college at all. Other colleges will vary depending on the qualification. So it may be that, I don't know, that they want a GCSE of 6 in physics to do a physics A level, or that they insist upon a certain outcome in a sports BTEC before you can take a level 3 sports BTEC. It depends. What you need to do, it's really important, is to look, when you're researching, is to look what the requirements are. So for example, at Priestley College, we have a maths requirement towards psychology, which may surprise you, but that's because there's a large statistical element within that course, and that can catch out some students. So it's very important when you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do this particular course, just be aware of what it is that they want you to do, and what you need to get into those. It's worth noting that GCSE and maths, English and maths GCSEs are pretty much a set thing you have to get for everything, and I'm sure the universities would agree that you really need those to move on at all. If you don't get those at 4 or above, you will have to redo them. It may limit the number of courses that you can get onto, and also by law you have to resit them several times until you can pass them. Also, certain courses, you'll look at things like music or sport or art will probably require some kind of practical test of you. Maybe go and do a fitness test for sport, or bring in your art portfolio of your finished artwork, or possibly go and do a music audition or something like that. So again, be really clear when you're doing your research. Look at the requirements that these different subjects that different colleges have.
What qualifications, skills, and experience do I need to get into university? Universities set their own requirements in relation to qualifications, skills, and experience that you will need for them to offer you a place. This may be because the university knows that in order to be successful on a given course, particular knowledge is a prerequisite, or because the course is so oversubscribed that they need to be able to differentiate between candidates in order to get the brightest and the best on their courses. Because universities and their individual courses all have different entry requirements, it's really important that you look closely at each course that you're applying to and make sure that you can, or think you can, meet those requirements. Some university courses will require you to have studied particular subjects previously, such as mathematics if you're applying to some engineering courses. Other universities will insist not only on particular subjects, but also particular qualifications. It may be, with some very competitive courses, for example, that only A levels will be accepted and they won't look at BTECs. But this isn't the case for most courses, but you do need to check. Many universities will also insist that you obtain particular grades at the end of your sixth form or college, and will offer you a place subject to achieving those grades. At very few universities, mainly those offering very competitive courses, they'll also ask you to take a test as part of your application, such as the LNAT, which is the National Admissions Test for Law, or the TSA, which is Thinking Skills Assessment. But again, this isn't the case for most courses. Almost all universities will want to know what you have achieved academically and will ask for your level 3 results. They will also want to know something about you and why you want to study there, so they'll ask you to prepare a personal statement. And this is your chance to evidence your suitability and demonstrate your interest in the course. They may also want to interview you in person or by Skype. If you're applying for a creative course, you can also be expected to show a portfolio of your creative work or to attend a live audition. Now, some universities are very rigid in their approach to meeting their entry requirements in their entirety, and others are not. So again, you really need to do your research to find out what each course you are interested in is looking for. Now, certain professions require a specific degree, for instance, teaching, medicine, dentistry, pharmacology, architecture. And so studying for a degree in one of these subjects is the only way to get access to these professions. So for example, if you want to call yourself a chartered architect, that's a legally protected designation, so you must have completed a recognized program of study and subsequent examinations in order to be able to say that that is what your profession is. I'm sure you can understand why it's in everyone's interest, for example, that people aren't allowed to call themselves medical doctors without extensive training and testing. So for some of these courses, you may even need work experience to get onto them. because you're training for a really particular profession, and so you'll be expected to have some first-hand experience of them and really evidence your commitment and interest in them. I would also add, if you're thinking of doing something creative at university, then you may wish to do a foundation diploma in art and design after your A-levels or level 3 qualification, which is usually just called a foundation course. This might be offered at your sixth form or college, but universities offer them too. These courses are traditionally taken by students interested in creative subjects and will help you to improve your skills and knowledge across a wide range of art and design subjects. And this will prepare you for your chosen degree or help you decide which course to study. And it will help you to build your portfolio before you start your degree so you can hit the ground running. Now, some universities will recommend or even insist you undertake a foundation course or give extra weight to applicants who have them, while others won't. So again, do your research.
So what can you do now to prepare for college or university? Well, the best way for you to prepare for your next step, whether it's college or university, is to do extensive research. There are a whole host of open days and events that you can attend, both in person and virtually online, to help you find out more about university and college, depending on which stage you are looking at moving on to next. You should check the websites of the institutions that you are considering to help you find out more about what they offer and their individual courses. There's a vast amount of information on universities' websites about the different courses that are on offer, including entry requirements, subject breakdowns, the modules that you'll cover on the course, and also any key highlights of individual courses. If you head over to the UCAS website, you can find lots of impartial information that will really help you to make decisions and figure out what is the best course for you. You can also make the most of having a look at university's social media accounts to find out more about what goes on around campus. And by heading over to student forums on websites such as the Student Room and on UniBuddy, you can actually speak to current students from institutions to help you find out more about what it's really like to be a student there. In terms of other things that you can do to help you prepare for college or university, you might want to consider how you can best showcase your individual skills and qualities. So you might want to be thinking about what current skills and qualities you have, and if there's any areas that you want to build on to help you become a really strong candidate and to help you stand out from other students who may be applying for similar courses to you. You can do this in a number of different ways. So you might want to have a look to see if there's any extra reading that you can do around your subject areas of interest. There's lots of free online courses that you can participate in. And you might also want to consider perhaps getting work experience if you are able to. For some university courses, work experience and specific work experience, in particular for courses that are related to health and education, do require work experience. So it's really good to plan ahead and make sure that you are planning and preparing to make sure that you've got everything that you need to make you a suitable student for your course of interest.
What's the best way to research for college? Usually we would say go to the open evenings or days and the events which colleges and sixth forms hold. Some do taster days where you can go and do some sample lessons and so on. Clearly, at the minute, that might be difficult. Hopefully, by the time you see this, things might have moved on and they may be available again. But at the minute, while you're looking and you can't really go and see, the internet is your friend. There are lots of, each college will have a website. They will have on there all the details of the courses that they offer. They'll have things like the entry requirements. They'll have pictures of their site you can look at, probably maps. They'll tell you about the transport options for getting there. We'll have almost like a news feed, which will give you all sorts of ideas about the trips, events, the life, what it's like there, the kind of things that happen. They'll have social media, which you can go and look at, which will tell you a lot about things which have gone on throughout the year. It's probably worth, you may not know where these places are, and it's probably worth looking at a map and seeing, if they're realistic to get to. So you might think, I'd like to go to this college, but you find out it's 2 hours trip by 3 different buses away. So that's something that's well worth looking at. And remember, and this is crucial, you can apply to as many sixth form colleges or sixth forms as you like. It doesn't have to be just 1 or 10. It can be literally any. You could apply to every single one in the country if you really wanted to. So you lose nothing by applying. So don't be afraid of putting in applications to colleges. You don't have to take them up. You can take your pick once your GCSE results come through, and then you can decide then. So right now, you haven't got to choose definitely, but do your research. Ask around as well, friends, family, people who've been to these colleges, and put in some applications, and then give yourself the best possible chance by holding a few different ones for different colleges.
So the best way to research for university courses is probably starting with the UCAS website. So UCAS stands for the Universities and Colleges Admission Service. So basically they coordinate applications to all UK universities. Now on their website, they have a course search, and if you can't find a course on there, then you can't apply for it. So it is the best starting point. If you put in a subject, so for example, psychology, it would tell you that there are 1,800 possible courses in the UK, and they're delivered across 176 providers. Now that obviously is way too many courses to research. However, they do have filters so that you can narrow down what your options are. So if, for example, you wanted to stay living in the Northwest, you can just search on the Northwest. If you fancy kind of moving up to Scotland, you could just search on Scotland. But once you've narrowed down your choices, you can then link through to the university's course fact sheets, and you can find out all the information like Laura mentioned, such as what the entry requirements are, the modules, how the courses are assessed and delivered. And the same course at different universities will differ greatly in terms of entry and different things. From here, you can also order kind of university prospectuses. Obviously, if you're keen to save the environment, you could just visit the Careers Library at Priestley College, because they're well stocked with every university's prospectus in the country. Probably the most important thing, though, when doing your research is to actually visit universities and get a feel for them yourself. In the current climate, obviously that's impossible, but universities are improving the provision that they have virtually. So if you want to take a virtual campus tour or attend a virtual open day, anyone can go and do that. When you're at college, you'll also find that college allow you time out to go up to taster days at unis, and they'll arrange different trips themselves. Every year, Priestley takes students to the Manchester UCAS Fair, and this is a big exhibition where hundreds of universities have a stand, and literally you can go in and you can find out information about the courses or just about the towns or cities that these universities sit in. One thing I do think is useful and has already been mentioned, but is Unibuddy, because a lot of universities now provide profiles of their students. So you could look on a university's website, find a student that's studying a similar course to what you're interested in, and then you could start that conversation and get a real insight into what it might be like at that university on that course, and also just living there in general. So in terms of kind of information, there is so much information out there. There's loads of different websites, all offering advice. So really it just depends how much time you've got as to how much research you can fit in.
So what support do colleges have for people with mental health issues, special educational needs and so on? It's worth noting, I think, before we mention this, that at the end of your school time, if you've got any exam concessions like extra time in exams, or you're allowed to use a computer, or you have somebody read the questions to you, those actually finish when you finish secondary school. If you want to, to continue with those, or if you feel that you need those, then you have to reapply for those when you go into a sixth form or college. So just bear that in mind and be prepared when you go in to, to say I've had these supports, and to be prepared to reapply again. All colleges, all sixth forms are set up to look after additional needs. For example, they'll also have classroom assistants, the same as schools do, people who can come in and help you if that's what you need. A lot of them will have facilities which are amended or changed to make it easier for people with, say, physical difficulties for getting in. For example, at Priestley, our main Crescent building has a lift so that people in wheelchairs and with mobility difficulties can get to the upper floor, and then it allows them to access the subjects which are taught there. They may have door lifts, and the enormous amounts of different ways in which sixth form colleges and sixth forms have tried very hard to make themselves accessible to people with physical difficulties. But again, ask, research, look, and you may find that might be a limit if you do have physical difficulties, because some colleges, for reasons of money or for reasons of the way the buildings are designed or the site layout, just may not be able to accommodate certain people for certain things. And don't be afraid to ask that question at all. Email colleges, phone them up, whatever, and ask, I've got this particular difficulty, can you accommodate me? You'll find that in terms of mental health, certainly colleges will have access to, or ways into local systems for helping with mental health, such as the CAMS. That have contacts in the CAMS system. Most colleges have a counsellor on site. Priestley has a counsellor on site who sees an awful lot of different students. They also have members of staff trained to at least do the basics of that. Obviously, they're not mental health professionals, but they can help to advise and to point you in the right direction. At Priestley College, we have a dedicated facility called the Base, where our student support people are set up to allow people to go in there and to work, in a quiet atmosphere that's specially designed for people really with special needs, so that they can go there and have a nice quiet place which isn't disturbed by other students and so on, and where there are always members of staff who they can go and talk to. And obviously each college and sixth form will take account of all of people's needs. They will draw out plans, educational healthcare plans or whatever are needed. They'll circulate those with their staff. They'll make sure that staff are aware, and they will do their very, very best to accommodate you. And finally, it's worth mentioning financial issues. Now, some people clearly are not as well off as others, and they may find they need financial help, possibly say to buy bus passes or maybe with free meals and so on. And again, there is provision for that within the sixth form system. There are pots of money which sixth forms can access. Every sixth form will be able to, if you feel that that's yourself, if you want to make an application for that or look into it, they'll do that, and they'll obviously do it in a discreet way so that you won't be tipping off anybody else. We have specific dedicated people who understand that system and can help with those applications. So rest easy in that the sixth form sector in general is very, very well set up to look after people with additional needs.
So universities are for everyone and are well equipped to support students with additional needs. Even though university is a chance for you to gain more independence, you're not alone. If you have a disability, mental health condition or specific learning difference, we would always recommend that you highlight this on your UCAS application in the dedicated section. This is just so that whichever university you go to can make contact with you ahead of you starting and make sure you've got everything you need in place. You may be entitled to additional financial support as well to pay for things such as specialist equipment, non-medical help, or travel to and from university. You can disclose your condition to university at any time during your studies. So, for example, if you start to struggle with poor mental health, you can access the service at any time to get the help that you need. Declaring that you have a disability will not have a negative impact on your application, and specialist staff can help you with a whole host of different conditions, such as specific learning differences, long-standing health conditions, mental health conditions, autistic spectrum conditions, and sensory impairments. They're there to support students so that they can fully benefit from life at university and achieve their learning potential. They'll also help you with things like finding suitable university accommodation, tailoring exam arrangements for you, speaking with academic departments, or providing you with a support worker, as well as providing specialist study skills tutorials and seminars. They're there as much or as little as you'd like them to be. To do this, you will need to provide the university with evidence of your condition. So this could be a letter from your GP, an educational healthcare plan, or a report from an educational psychologist or a specialist practitioner. You can visit unis on open days usually, or experience days before you apply to assess whether or not it meets the needs of your requirements and meet the teams that will support you through your studies. In addition, the support departments will give you opportunities to visit the campus on multiple occasions before you start to try and ease any anxieties you might have and so that you can get used to your new surroundings. So, nobody in my family has been before. Why should I do things differently? I went to Great Sankey High School and then decided to stay on at Barrow Hall College to do my A-levels. At the time, there weren't as many options as there are now. So while I was at college, I decided that university would be the best option for me. My mum and dad had gone straight into work from school, so I was the first person in my family to go to university. At first, I did feel quite worried about going because I had no one in my family to tell me about their experiences, tell me how to choose a course or a university, tell me about student finance, or give me advice on living away from home. Saying that though, I did feel really excited to be moving away from home and doing something nobody in my family had done before. So why should you do the same? Universities are a great place for you to learn more about a subject you love, or study towards a particular career and learn more about yourself and gain independence. So for me, that was using the washing machine without turning everything pink. It still continues. While you are studying at university, you will have opportunities that you might not get in the outside world, such as studying abroad, being part of current research, or working at Camp America or Disney resorts. Alongside knowledge you will gain in your chosen subject, you will develop transferable skills such as time management, leadership, teamwork, and organisation, all things that will help you in your working life. University is hard work, as you can imagine, but there's lots of opportunities for fun as well. You may only be in lessons 12 to 20 hours a week, and of course you'll have to do independent work on top of that. But each university has clubs and societies for you to join and take part in. These are usually run by the University Student Union and include the usual football, netball and swimming teams, alongside clubs and societies like Quidditch or the Chocolate Appreciation Society. Choosing to go to university will help build your self-confidence, broaden your horizons and allows you to meet people from all over the world. Going to university will boost your earning potential as degrees are attractive to employers. So this means the amount of jobs you have access to will increase and so will your earnings. And that's about 30% more than those without a degree. So if university sounds like something you're interested in, go for it.
You would have a lot of opportunities if you wanted to study outside of England and internationally as well. So going to university in general is a very personal choice. It is absolutely your decision, and it should be what you want to do when you choose a university to go to. So the first thing is, if you want to stay at home, then there's loads of amazing universities that you can go to in the Northwest or wherever you're from. If you want to move away from home, then there's loads of great opportunities that exist for you. So as you can imagine, my speciality is going to be about university in Scotland. And Scotland probably represents the biggest change to universities in other parts of the UK. So the main reason for this is in Scotland, for most of our courses, so for things like psychology, for geography, for history, social science, humanities, you will find that we will study for 4 years, which is 1 year longer than you would do if you went to university in England, Wales, or Northern Ireland. The reason we do this is to give you more flexibility in your learning. So in your first 2 years, you can take up to 3 different subjects each semester. So you might take history, you might take geography, and you might take psychology all at the same time. Then you decide after second year what course you want to do. So if you're not quite sure by the end of college what subject you want to do at university, then that's when the Scottish degree structure kind of comes into its own. Internationally, the Scottish degree structure is most similar to the American structure. So if you're to go to an American university in the USA, that would also be a 4-year course. And that structure was actually adapted from the Scottish structure. I'm not saying the structure was stolen from Scotland, but it's very similar. So this is the major and the minor system that you'd find and you'd hear in the movies and things. More local to that, you do have quite a lot of different universities also in Wales. So there's 8 different universities that you could go to in Wales, and there's 2 in Northern Ireland as well. As I said at the start, going to university is a very personal choice. So by all means, going to university is about getting the degree you want at the end of it. But sort of to use my own example, going to university was much more than that. So going to university was moving away from home. It was learning how to cook not just beans on toast, but even different types of pasta and your own washing. And it was also meeting new people. I think I was probably one of the shyest people in my whole school before I moved out to go to a different university. And it was being able to move out, move into a flat with all new people, do group presentations, and do things that pushed me out of my comfort zone, really probably turned me into the person I am today and doing jobs like this. So that's what moving away can give you, whether you go to Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, even if you just move at the other side of England, you know, moving away can give you maybe a different experience, but make sure you're doing what's right for you. Whether you want to stay at home, whether you want to move away, you will have an amazing time at university no matter where you go. Just make sure you do your research over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and make the right choice for you.
Thank you, Chris. Really helpful. And to everyone involved as well for joining us today on the Learn Live channel. It was great to hear the amount of support that is available to everyone and the different types of courses that have places available. We have more pledges coming up soon, Next week, on Tuesday, 9th of June, we have Steph from Minerva Arts joining us as she tells us all about the youth theatre. And there may be even a task for you as well. Please remember to leave a question on the live chat facility next to the video player, and a member of the panel will answer your questions as soon as possible. Remember, the live chat is always live and safe to use, informative for anyone that leaves a question. It's also fully moderated at all times by our team. So we'll see you again here on the Learn Live channel on the 9th of June for Steph from Minerva Arts. Stay safe, everybody, and thanks for watching.
So the Pledge is a sort of organisation that tries to connect young people with businesses. So we work with schools and colleges and different organisations, so different charities and everything as well, to get young people engaged with us and into the workplace.
We got involved with the Pledge probably 3 or 4 years ago now. We went along to one of the first meetings and it was actually really exciting. There were a lot of people there from local schools and local businesses. So from our perspective as an employer, it was great to sort of connect with local Macclesfield businesses, really.
The Pledge has been able to give me more confidence in myself. I think I've really been able to get on well with my employer because I've seen other employers being engaged through the Pledge.
I think it was in year 11, Jeva came in, did an assembly about the Pledge there. And that's when I first kind of properly, I'd heard bits about it, but that's when I first properly got an idea of what it was, and it was like that connection between schools and the workplace and demonstrating you can do more than uni and all that kind of thing.
I think it's important just to let us know the opportunities that are out there, because it's really hard to kind of find everything, because UCAS has a website for universities and employers don't really have one website, so Pledge can kind of be that bridging the gap.
They've put us in contact with countless local schools and charities and organisations. They approach us constantly to get involved in careers workshops and events that they've set up. They allow for meaningful contact.
Employing young people really helps us in terms of the energy that they bring, fresh ideas and being very committed to the organisation, and also they've got that enthusiasm for training and development, which will really help us further down the line.
But it's what you need to do. If you need young people and new talent, you've got to go out and get it, because the students and the children are struggling to come to you. So you've got to show them that you're approachable and that you can do something that sort of means something to them.